So, I'm not even going to front. I kind of been missing y'all, and I realized I haven't really been getting that many inbox messages from random people wanting me to talk about Cuckold. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I went off. Maybe because I went off on y'all in one of my previous videos. And like I say, sometimes I'm forgetting what the hell I've said in previous videos. So, something told me to check my spam folder. I'm just like, wow, I haven't been getting any inbox messages to talk about cuckolding or anything for that matter. I haven't been getting any video requests. I'm just like, wow, what's going on? So something told me to check my spam folder because I realized that Google has a way of filtering things out on their own if they think that it's inappropriate, as I've already talked about relating to the comments that they've been shadow banning on my YouTube videos. That's they're doing. They have a way of doing that, filtering out comments, filtering out email messages that you guys send to me. So, yeah, I got an instinct to check my spam folder. When I checked it, I saw this email that I'm going to read to you guys. And we're going to talk about here in this video. But before we get started, let me light my Nag Champa incense because I feel like this video is about to be a little bit heated. So we're going to start off with this here. And I love the smell of it, by the way. Alright. Feels like I'm opening Pandora's box when I open my laptop. Alright. Let's go. Now, this email, it does sound somewhat familiar to previous emails that I've received and I've made videos on, but it does have a slight different feel to it. It's a caveat to it, so you guys will see. So he says, I was wondering if you could offer me some advice. I'm a white man, no surprise, with a black girlfriend who I plan on marrying soon. That's his freaking first opening line, right? I'm a white man with a black girlfriend who I plan on marrying soon. Oh, really? But, there's a but, okay? He wants to marry her, but is this an ultimatum? Or is this a prerequisite? Like, what's going on here? But I want her to cuckold me with black guys that are extremely well endowed. I can only do this with someone I totally love because my fiance is the love of my life. That doesn't explain why you can only do this with someone that you totally love. I'm a bit confused here. You can only do this with someone you love. I'm thinking he's about to go like real deep into an explanation as to why he can do this with someone he only loves. He totally loves her. Like he's trying to convince us that he loves her, right? Prove it. Prove it, right? I'm not convinced that you totally love her. Just by you saying because she's your fiance and she's the love of your life. Okay. People propose to people all the time for various reasons. And what it sounds like here is that you are making a contingency plan for her. You're saying that only if she cuckolds you with black guys who are extremely well endowed that you will be willing to marry her. Because why would you say you plan on marrying her but you want her to cuckold? It's just like, come on, seriously? Does she know this? So he goes on to say, she's my soulmate and she's my everything, but it is a sexual need of mine. Saying that she's your soulmate, like that sounds just so superficial. She's my soulmate. She's my everything. That doesn't prove your love for her. If anything, it actually does the opposite. It shows that you're making this shit up. Like you really don't love her. Even if this, I don't even know if this shit is real, right? This email was sent on July 20th, 10:36 in the morning. I don't even know if this fucking email is real, right? We don't know the validity of his statements. But the way the way he puts it out there is just, it's clear that, I mean, or it's not clear that you love her, right? It seems like you're just saying these things to paint a picture, to get like our buy-in into your story. You're trying to get our buy-in to say, like, to make yourself maybe feel less of a bad person for what you're going to say, right? Because you're like, I love her, right? I love her. She's just such a great person. My love for her is endless. But there's just one thing. Who's convinced? Comment below if you're convinced that this guy loves her. But nothing here in this email, like, communicates that he necessarily loves her. Okay, you propose to her. People propose to people all the time and they get divorces all the time. Now, how does that communicate love? So he says, she's my soulmate and she's my everything, but it is a sexual need of mine for her to call me. And then he leaves it out. I'm like, call you what? He leaves out what he wants to be called. It is a sexual need of mine for her to call me. He totally left it out. I was going to reply to ask him, okay, what do you want her to call you? I think you left out a word. There's a missing word here. Call you what? Call you what? Call you bitch? Call you, I don't know, cracker? Because that is how I become aroused and erect. How do you become aroused and erect? Call you what is it? Help us out, guys. What do you think he wants to be called that makes him aroused and erect? I mean, process of elimination, right? Cracker, because I know that a lot of you guys like to do the race play. And you said this, some guys said this to me before, like they're into that whole race play thing, right? So being called cracker, bitch, maybe you're into the power play. You want her to dominate you. What is it that you want to be called? He says, how can I explain to her that this is very important to our relationship? And that just because I want her to have sex with other men for my pleasure. Notice that he mentions his pleasure first. And then he slides on in there, and hers, and her pleasure. No, this is for your pleasure. Don't be trying to slide in her and hers too. This is completely for your pleasure, y'all. Because if it was hers, listen, okay, you're not making any sense. Think about this. Like, come on now. Did you read this before you sent it? Did you think about this before you sent it? Because if this was for her pleasure, why would you need help convincing her? Why would you need help explaining to her that this is very important to the relationship if it's also for her pleasure? If it's for her pleasure too, no explanation will be needed because she gets it. You guys are like on the same page. You guys are like here, but you're not. And you're trying to convince her to engage in this alternative sexual activity, which you're making a lifestyle. It's not just something that, okay, I want to try this out. Because you have couples that experiment and they stumble across these alternative sexual activities from social media, the internet. They come across porn videos. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of us kind of discover these fetishes. It's like through porn. Because there's no other place for it. People kind of unfortunately demonize things that are completely natural. And are between, two or more consenting adults. That's kind of unfortunate, right? So they have to have like a dark space on the World Wide Web for these kinds of activities, right? For cuckolding, for BDSM, and bondage, and discipline. All kinds of all kinds of things that we're interested in, right? It's unfortunate, so yeah. But if she was in on it, like, there would be no need for you to explain anything. She's not in on it. This is a fantasy that you have in your mind for her and in your relationship with her, and a potential marriage that I don't really see happening. I don't see happening, yo. Now, listen, it could possibly happen, though. She's already, I mean, you think about a person that dates outside of their race, they have to be very bold. You gotta think about what kind of person dates outside of their race. And we're not talking about people who come from a lineage of people where there's already race mix. And granted, we all kind of are mixed with different things. But if, let's say, both of her parents were black, right? Her mom and her dad are black. Her maternal grandparents are black. Her paternal grandparents are black, right? You gotta think about this, right? What kind of person would she be? And I'm not saying in a derogatory way. I'm just saying to think in terms of the mindset of a person who's willing to go against the grain, to go against the norm for what has happened in her family intergenerationally, right? If everyone or most people in her family have married within the race, and here she is, or or dating, outside of her race, what kind of person? She already has this kind of energy about her that goes against the grain. She's not really trying to fit in. You gotta think about it. That's just people who tend to date outside their race. And I'm saying, like, people who, let's say, their parents are, mixed race or whatever. Then they become mixed race, like black and white. That's kind of expected, right? You're just following what your parents did. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about people whose parents are the same race. Their grandparents are the same race. Mostly everyone in their family is kind of like the same race. And then you have a woman who dates outside of her race and marries a white man. That's bold. Considering the context of the society in which we live in, yo. That's like being a homosexual, right? Like, we live in a heterosexual society that kind of shuns homosexuality or anything that's outside of the norm, anything outside of what most people are doing, right? We're talking about political correctness here. Dating outside of your race, there's nothing politically correct about dating outside of your race, right? It just doesn't go in line with political correctness. And so I don't think it will take that much convincing necessarily. But it also depends on the age. This guy did not mention anything about age. And oftentimes you guys leave that out. But it does matter. You didn't mention your age. You didn't mention her. Like, are you much older than her? Because you see that. Or these white daddies or older men, sugar daddies, be baiting these younger black women. And it works for both. The white man is turned on by this sexy, youthful black woman. And she also benefits from dating a white man, especially if he has, financial stability and a degree of resources that makes her feel secure, going forward in the future, right? So it can go both ways. It can work for both people involved in that kind of relationship. But what is her age? What is your age? Because what you're saying is that you want her to become this object, this sexual object. I mean, let's just call it as it is. It's an object. Now, unless she's into it. If she's into it, no, it's not really sexual objectification because she's into it. But for a person who doesn't see sex in the way like you're seeing sex, Because you're seeing it like, oh, okay, sexual freedom, we're having fun, it's liberation. But for other people, like, sex is this intimate, sacred thing that should be shared and experienced between two people who truly do love each other. And to love a person, you have to know them. And you're saying you want her to have sex with different men. Where are you going to get these men from? I know there are groups. There are like these groups, you know, of people that come together on the internet, even in person. Like swinger groups, you know, and sexual alternative lifestyle groups. And it's not uncommon, right, for people to be able to post what it is they're looking for, saying, you know, hi, I'm a 45-year-old white male. I'm dating or engaged to a 32-year-old black woman, and, you know, we want to try something different. We're exploring our sexuality, and we're considering cuckolding, and we're looking for well-endowed black men that she can sleep with. I mean, that kind of posting, description for a posting to solicit black men who are well-endowed, that wouldn't be uncommon that you'll see, like, in these kind of private underground groups, right? Online groups. That's not something that is uncommon. But I'm curious, like, where would you find these men? How would you go about it? It's just, to me, it's something, maybe I'm missing something, but something just doesn't seem right about the way you laid it out here. Because I'm putting myself in her shoes. Obviously, I'm a black woman, right? And I'm like, if I was engaged to a guy who wanted me, who came to me, right? Just like, I don't know, out of the blue, came to me and asked me, who made this proposition to say, hey, I want you to go have sex with other men and I want to watch you do it. And I'm like, this is my fiance. This is someone that I've gotten to know. Now, everyone is different, but for me, I'm very particular about, like, even dating, who I date, who I go out with, especially who I get intimate with, who I give my heart, who I become vulnerable with. It takes a while to even get to that point. And so when we reach that point, it's just like this man is saying, all right, you can have sex with other men. How would I respond? I'm just like, I might be like, knowing me, I might, because I'm kind of like really open-minded when it comes to different things, right? Y'all already know that. So I might just be like, oh yeah, but that would be some like strange out of the blue shit, especially if it's not a topic that has come up, right? Like, you and her have never talked about this, but I don't see how would that be possible though. Because you're talking about your fiance. This is someone that you are considering spending the rest of your life with. You're merging with legally to create a partnership, a legal partnership, right? I don't really take that lightly, and I don't think most people don't take it lightly, right? And so it's just like, y'all have to know each other. And it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the idea that this has never come up in conversation between you two. I just don't see how it has never come up. At least maybe not directly where you have explicitly stated your desire for wanting to create this type of relationship, this dynamic where you become a cuckold and she's sleeping with well-endowed black men, right? Maybe not explicitly, but maybe like indirectly, you know, vicariously through watching porn videos or something. You've expressed, you know, your perspective on it. and maybe saw her reaction to it. And I think I kind of alluded to this whole situation before in a previous video where someone had asked me about, oh, well, how can I introduce it to my wife? And it's just like, I think this guy, he was already married. And I'm just like, yo, you're going to lose your wife. You know, because if you're saying like some out of the blue shit and you know damn well she's not down for it, but you just never know though. It's like making an assumption. You just never know, because maybe she might be more down for it than you. Because I'm looking at it this way, like if you were well endowed, right? If you were packing, what reason would you have, like a man that is well endowed, like, right? And he's with a woman. He don't need other men to fuck his woman. He got that, right? It's something missing here. That's what I'm saying. Something is missing here. Like, you don't have that. And so you're seeking other men to fulfill that. And you want to basically fuck your wife with their penises. You're fucking her vicariously through them. And you're getting pleasure from that. Will she get pleasure though? How will that bring her pleasure? Women have been known to say, like, when they have sex with a man, that they become emotionally attached to a man. Now, what I'm going to say, you got to be very specific here. Are these men well endowed? You ask women who say, oh, I can't just have sex with a man because I get emotionally attached, so that's why I'm very careful about who I sleep with. But I'm pretty sure those same women would say that they have sex with some man who has some itty bitty pencil penises and they didn't become sexually attached. They probably got sexually frustrated, more sexually detached or emotionally detached because they were freaking sexually frustrated, you know, because they weren't fully satisfied in the bedroom. How can you become emotionally attached to someone that doesn't fully sexually satisfy you? So along that same line, it might be easy for her. Maybe that's something that she's already contemplating in her mind privately. Maybe very easy for her to have sex with other men because she doesn't have that emotional attachment to you. She can easily do that because you just don't do it for her in that department. Like, sex is more than just sex, yo. Sex is a sexual energy exchange. It's intimacy. It's how souls become connected. They bond. And when you see women that are going crazy over these men, not to say sex is the only mechanism that can create that emotional attachment between a man and a woman, where you see, like, when you see women like burning down a man's house because she found out that he cheated, or slicing his tires, or showing up at his job, and just like in this hysteria over a man, you know, oftentimes it's because of the phallus. It's because of like the way he makes her feel. And that can take place, that can manifest itself in many different forms, right? Through sex, through the way he communicates with her and talks to her, the way he nurtures her, you know, makes her feel secure, the way he's consistently like been present in her life, right? There's many different ways you can kind of nurture that emotional bond. But sex, I mean, if it's good sex, it's like sex is a form of communication too. We sometimes try to ignore that, but it is. You know, it's nonverbal communication, but it's saying so much though. It says so much, the way a person, the way, you know, a man pleases a woman in the bedroom. Right? Some women fall in love just from having good sex, from being fucked good. They literally fall in love, right? And you have this emotional attachment. It's not lust, it's love. Like, they go, like, in their mind, they go crazy, and you know, all of these like neurochemicals are released, and people say, oh no, that's just lust. But no, that's like the doorway to love though. All right, because their guard is down. Like, all their defenses are gone away. Any reservations that she had are gone out the window. Long gone, right? When those chemicals are released, the dopamine and the oxytocin, through having sex, through that release that she feels when she's being titillated and caressed and, penetrated. And so that is the doorway for love to happen, for her to be vulnerable with this guy. Especially depending on how he treats her after the sex, to the aftercare. And if it's consistent, it has to be a degree of consistency, not just fucking and alright, he puts on his clothes or takes a shower and sends her on her way. Like, you can't really build intimacy like that. It's how the sex is done, right? And so when men like email me and ask me about cuckolding and wanting to make their propositions to their partner, their female partner, right, about this idea, this fantasy that they're having, and then I think one guy actually was concerned about, okay, well, what if she develops feelings for these other men, and that could easily happen. That could easily happen for this guy who's sending me this email. What if your fiance becomes connected, emotionally connected, and you're looking at it like, okay, I'm just wanting to use her to have sex with these women, these different men. You're thinking it's just a sex thing, but what if she develops strong feelings for these men who are well endowed? And they take your woman from you. Mr. Steal Your Girl come in. Because you ain't laying it down right? So this is the thing. I think people in their mind, like, they have their idea, this fantasy, this visualization of what they imagine something to look like, to be like. You have it all planned out. I'm sure he probably has it all mapped out too. What it'll look like, the positions, the sexual positions that his fiance will be in, what these men may look like, where the activity is going to take place. He probably already got this shit mapped out. And it just doesn't go that way. Life doesn't really happen the way we envision sometimes. You think you really have that much control over every little minutia of that experience? No, you don't. You might can control some aspects of it in terms of where the sexual activities will take place, what you guys are wearing, because some black men, some bulls might be in on it, right? And they're like, all right, I'll wear what you want me to wear. What time you want to do this, I'll cooperate with that. I'm in it. I'm in on it. I mean, how many black men will turn that opportunity down? Some men just like to have sex. So yeah, they'll be in on that shit. But you can't control what happens on a subconscious level, though. You can't control those feelings that may surface. That's what I'm thinking about. I mean, I said that she probably could have positive feelings, right, of attachment, emotional attachment towards these men, if this thing happens, right? We don't know if this shit gonna happen. But she also can develop negative feelings, right? What if she gets triggered? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a lot. I don't know. He didn't say too much, right? That's just pretty much the email, what he says. He says that he ends by saying, how can I explain to her that this is very important to our relationship and that just because I want her to have sex with other men for my pleasure and hers, no, it's really for your pleasure, whatever. That doesn't mean I love her any less. And actually it means and shows that I love her very, very much. How though? You're seeing it through your perspective. How can you project what you think is love onto her? Because she may have a different understanding. Some people look at love as just this monogamous thing that only happens between two people that really love each other deeply, right? And bringing in other players in that relationship threatens that love. So how can you say is love if she doesn't conceptualize that as such? You look at it that way. You're looking at like, okay, I'm giving her a gift that she is able to be free. She doesn't have to just be bound to only having sex with me, her fiance. She is free to have sex possibly with anyone who she chooses, right? No restraints. Oftentimes people, when they think about marriage, men, and I say this to my female clients who have been dating a guy, for many years, and they want to be married, right? And then they bring up marriage to their boyfriend they've been dating for many years, and then he sulks. The guy sulks, and this is not the reaction that a lot of women are looking for. They're like, why is he sulking? Like, I love him, and I think he loves me, but when we talk about marriage, like, his whole mood changes. Why? Because it's people's perception of marriage. That's why. It's important to know how he sees marriage, because you may have this most women do, right? Have this rosy picture of marriage and what it's going to be like, and the wedding and the dress. Oh, he loves me. But men don't often have that perception of marriage. They look at it like, oh shit, being locked down, all your freedom is taken away. That's how a lot of men look at it. They look at it like prison. So you got to figure out, how does she look at this whole cuckolding idea? She may feel like she's being prostituted and you're her pimp. Even though there's no money exchange in this whole situation. Or is there? Are you pimping her behind her back? This whole idea of, I want her to be fucking other men and it's for her pleasure. But what if you taking some money under the table? She don't know nothing about that. That will be fucked up. That will be fucked up. On that note, I'm going to end here. Thanks for the video topic idea, though. I mean, it's interesting. I just think that it's kind of a bunch of baloney. Because goddamn well. Goddamn well that is not for her pleasure. It doesn't make any sense. Right? And you can't speak for her. Like, there goes that whole patriarchal part of men. This paternalistic part of men who try to speak for women. Because you're speaking for her. You're saying that it's for her pleasure. Like, but if it was for her pleasure, and if you knew that she was going to gain satisfaction from it and she wanted to do this, like, there'd be no need for you to send me that email and for you to try to find a way to convince her or explain the situation. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But as I was saying, I'm going to say this before I end this video, is like, if I was in her shoes, right, as a black woman, I mean, I'm a different type of black woman, though. A lot of black women, I mean, may share certain commonality and, you know, ideas that I have, right? But, nah. I think when it comes, especially when it comes to something like marriage, like, I think I'm just more open-minded, like, in terms of alternative sexual lifestyle. Clearly, clearly, right? And so, I mean, personally, I would look at it like, oh, it's different. It's an opportunity. Um, shit. I would have to choose those men, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, some women, I think, initially may have, and their initial reaction would be opposition. Because that's just how the mind works. It's just like, nah. Until they really put thought to it. And they really, like, break it down. And analyze this thing. And then there may be parts of the experience that they will agree with. And that they can see benefit from. But that's after, until you break it down. It's like when you make the proposition initially. Of course, I'm like, fucking different men? Hell no. Because that's just how we've been conditioned as women to be chaste and to be pure. And, it's bad if you have sex with different men. I mean, men are responsible for that. Responsible for women's conditioning and how we see sex and ourselves in sexual situations. Men do the slut shaming, not women. And so here you are as a man trying to ask a woman how to reverse that conditioning that you guys have done. I'm not saying you, like, individually, like, but you as a collective of men, you guys have done this to women. And so you're trying to figure out how to reverse it. I think deep down inside, everyone has this part about them that is open to exploration. I think that part about us that's open to exploration was a bit stronger when we were younger. And then over time it kind of gets smaller, it diminishes itself. Because just, of socialization. And personal experience, you go through things in life and you just like learn like, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea, based on your experience in doing so. But if you can make something exciting, pleasurable, fun, and a person has a good experience in doing it, something that they initially were reluctant to engage in, that they had reservations about, right? If you could create that experience and it's rewarding for them, especially if it's their first time, it's her first time doing this, right? Because she's going to be very nervous, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear there of the unknown. And make her feel like she has a degree of control. Or maybe she wants you to be in control. Because every woman is different. But I think part of us as human beings, we just gotta feel like we have agency over our life. So that you don't make the complete decisions for her. Unless that's the kind of dynamic that you guys already have established in the relationship. But, she gets to choose. And it's not like you are just like, all right, you're going to have sex with this guy, this guy, this guy. That's like, what? I don't know, it'll feel more like a chore. Like if you're dictating like all these different men that you want to see her have sex with. That can feel like a job. And she's like, I don't think I signed up for this shit, yo. Like, I thought I was, like, falling in love with a guy, a man, cares about me, but he just wants to use me as a sexual object for his own gratification. Kind of fucked up shit is that? And then she's gonna resent you. Do you want her to resent you? I don't think so, right? So I think it's just communication is important. Just talking with her. And when you introduce new ideas to someone, right? When you're trying to get someone's buy-in in something that is new, that you know they have reservations about, you know that they're gonna be like, hell nah, right? It's a way you do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just dump it all on them. Like, you don't want to overwhelm a person by just putting this your whole entire fantasy, right? Because you have this idea, right? This fantasy. That's the end goal, right? You gotta do a stepwise progression of introducing it to. You can't just like introduce this whole entire fantasy, like the whole entire end goal of what you want to see happen. That's doing too much, right? You gotta like slowly ease her in on the idea. And I mentioned this before, by perhaps introducing her to a video or a blog about it, and just you guys talking about it, and seeing her reaction to it. Right? Just having a discussion about it. Of course, there's gonna be some resistance there, some, opposition. Her defenses are going to come up, right? That's natural. They should come up. Her defenses should come up. But over time, when she's ready, though, because if you're just like shoving it down her fucking throat, yeah, she's going to get annoyed. You don't want to that's not what you want, right? You see she's getting annoyed, like, stop. Okay, it's just stop, because it's not becoming a pleasurable experience for her. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you say, you can be my bull. I'm not looking for a bull. Where you get that idea from? Go, okay? But, it's like that when, like, if you're like, forcing it down her throat constantly too much, it's too much for her, then, yeah, she can be annoyed. And then in doing that and annoying her, like, you are conditioning her, right? Like, all behavior is like, most behavior anyway, I would say, is like, it's shape, it's form. And we all play a role in that. And you're in a relationship with her, and you're trying to introduce this topic, this new experience, this idea of cuckolding to her that is foreign. And if you're like force feeding it down to her, that in and of itself is creating a learning experience for her, and is making her develop an aversion towards it, subconsciously, right? You're doing that. If you see that, it's too much. You see that she's getting annoyed. It's just like, that's not what you want. You want to create a pleasurable experience for her. You want to make it seem enticing, exciting, rewarding, beneficial. So that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want. And you got to find a way on how to do that when introducing it to her, exposing it to her in a way that is not frightening. You know what I'm saying? That she doesn't look at you like, okay, you're a monster. Like, who is this guy, right? He's becoming someone that I don't even know who the fuck he is. So yeah, I hope that helps. And I will catch you guys in the next one. I need to eat. I have not eaten yet. And Stanley, why do you want to be someone's bull? Okay, you can be someone's bull, not my bull. I'm not interested. And I have a certain type. We all have a certain type. I don't think you are my type. I just don't think you're my type. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I do have a certain type. And I like tall men. I like dominant men. I just like, ugh. I feel like bulls, they're bulls, right? They may have a dominant energy about them. They can fuck good. But I question, are bulls dominant? Are they alpha? Because, like, yo, true dominant alpha men, they're very, like, territorial, possessive. And if a woman is in a relationship where she's having sex with bulls, think about that. No. That goes against, like, that goes against what a dominant man wants. That's not, a dominant man is not going to be having other men fuck his motherfucking wife. That's his property, like, so to speak, right? Like, if you talk to, like, true dominant men, right? I'm not talking about beta men, right? They ain't going for that shit. Hell no. Are you kidding me? That's his. He's not going to allow another man to have sex with his woman. He's just not. That's his. True dominant men, they're very territorial. And if he does allow, he's still very territorial over that experience too. Right? But more often than not, he's not going for that. That's not happening. Show me a dominant man that allows such thing to happen. He's just not an alpha man. So that's just my type. I like dominant alpha men, you know, tall, strong, smart. The physique is one aspect, but the intellect, I think, is even more important. You gotta be smarter than me. That's what it means to be dominant, like intellectual. That's what really means. That's what dominance is. It's just, it starts in the mind, yo. Everything else follows, you know. When I know I can outsmart a man, I'm just like, okay, he's not more dominant than me. It's just, it is what it is. Well, then, no, I'm about to eat. I'm fucking hungry. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Feel free to share your comments below. Let me know what y'all think. And let me know if this guy, what y'all think? This guy, from what I've said and shared so far here, from that email, do y'all really think he loves her? I don't think so. I don't think he loves her. But I'll catch you guys in the next one.